Hi friends, today I'm gonna tell you about all the places that I visited here in the Kaliningrad region. If you've been following my channel, you probably know that I moved here around 7 months ago. Actually, today is my last day here in this region. I decided to move. I'm gonna tell you about it at the end of the video, why I'm moving out from here. Probably you know that the Kaliningrad region is a very unique place. It's an exclave of Russia. It's this piece of land in Europe that's surrounded by European states and the Baltic Sea. It's a very unique place from the nature perspective because there are some natural wonders here that I have really enjoyed exploring, and also from the historical perspective it's a really fascinating region because this land used to belong to East Prussia, and you can see the influence of that culture here obviously. Then it was taken over by the Soviet Union, and you can see of course the mark that era left. And geographically, of course, it's very interesting because it's separated from the rest of Russia. While I've been living here in the Kaliningrad region, I decided to explore it as much as possible, even though it's not a very big territory, but there are so many little towns here that you can visit. Of course, there is Kaliningrad, the big city, relatively big. Overall, I think that I've got a good glimpse of everything that you can see here. And today I'm gonna tell you about it, and I'm gonna rate all the places that I've been to. Of course, this rating is very subjective. Yeah, by the way, for me it's very unusual to film inside because usually I like making vlogs, but today I'm here in my flat that I'm renting in Kaliningrad, and behind me you can see some paintings that show some of the pretty places here in the region. Anyways, let me tell you about all the places, and let's start. So we're gonna start with number 11, and it's a city that I went to just a couple of days ago actually. It's called Gusev. Yeah, this city suffered a lot during the World War II, so unfortunately a lot of buildings have been destroyed. But now, just like as many towns in the Kaliningrad regions, it's being renovated. You know, in general, I must say that in the last couple of years the tourist industry has grown here in the region. Well, you know that for many Russian people it's become difficult to travel abroad, and that's why inside tourism is developing really fast. The Kaliningrad region is one of the most attractive tourist destinations for Russian people because it's a unique place. It's kind of like abroad, but it's not abroad. There are resorts here, there is a lot of history, so a lot of people are naturally drawn here. Just several years ago, some towns here, they looked a little bit sad, but nowadays a lot of towns here are developing. And when I went to that town, Gusev, I saw that a lot of buildings have been renovated, even though you can see some of the buildings there that are not in the best condition, but you can see that they are working on it. So what I liked about this place is that it's very quiet. There is a very nice museum of local history where you can learn about that place, that city, throughout history. There are some monuments in this town. There is the monument of a moose, which is a symbol of East Prussia, and some pretty buildings, but I think you can spend there just a couple of hours and that's enough, to be honest. But still, it's a very nice place to explore. Okay, so let's move on to number 10. Here I put Pravdinsk. It's a little town. It used to be called Friedland. It's famous for the Battle of Friedland. If you're familiar with Napoleon times, probably you've heard of this name. The battle was next to that little town, and when you walk around the town you can see these signs with some history notes about the things that were going on there. There are some historical buildings there that are really interesting. For example, in the center of this town there is the Church of St. George. It's really big. Apparently it's one of the biggest German churches in the Kaliningrad region that you can see presently. It's right in the town center. I think it makes the town really beautiful. You can actually go up to the top of that church and you can see the beautiful view of the town, which I really enjoyed. And in general, the area around the church is really taken care of. There are some little parks where you can just chill. But in general, it's again a small town. I think you can walk there for a couple of hours and that's it. because there is not much to see, but still it's pretty interesting. If you like history especially, I think it's a place worth visiting. Okay, let's go to number 9. So here I put Chernihovsk, formerly known as Instenburg. It's a pretty town. There you can see the castle of Instenburg that was built in the 14th century, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually you can't see the whole castle, there are ruins, but still it's pretty fascinating that it's still there and you can go on a guided tour and learn about the history of it. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to do that, but I just walked around the castle and the city center, which looks really beautiful. They have renovated the city center. The historical buildings look really pretty. What I really liked is the German church, the Catholic church, that also looks really new. When I was in this town, it was very quiet, and to me it was a little bit surprising, but also kind of cool, because I like when you can walk around the town without crowds of tourists and just enjoy the beautiful architecture, the nature, and soak in the atmosphere. Okay, so number 8 is Sovetsk. It's a town that used to be called Tilsit in the past. Probably you've heard about this place, maybe you've heard about the Tilsit treaties, or maybe you've heard about the Tilsit cheese that was actually invented in that town. The main landmark of that place is that bridge over the Neman River. This river now separates Russia from Lithuania, so when you stand on the embankment on the Russian side, you can look across the river and you will see Lithuania. I just love the river, you know. When I was there, I was ready to just stay next to the river for the whole day, just because that side of the river was so beautiful. I think that honestly this city was the most Soviet city that I've seen in the Kaliningrad region. I guess the name Sovetsk really suits it, because even though you can see a lot of historical buildings, there are also a lot of very Soviet buildings there as well. I had kind of like mixed feelings about this place, but I think that the river and the bridge are definitely worth seeing. Number 7 is Yintarny. It's like a village slash little town. It's really beautiful, really peaceful. When I first visited Yintarny, I went to this kind of like a glamping on the Baltic coast. You know, it's really pretty because you can go to a sauna, you can look at the sea, and it was snowing at that time. It was really beautiful. The second time I went there, it was this fall. Yintarny means amber in Russian. They get a lot of amber in the Kaliningrad region. You can even see this restaurant, the walls of which are covered with pieces of amber, which is insane. Yeah, there are some really pretty buildings, some churches, very beautiful park, and the beach there is amazing. It's so clean. It has this white sand. I think that this place is perfect for rest and for recharging your batteries, especially if it's not a tourist season. I have no idea what it's gonna be like in summer. I've only heard that if there are a lot of people, it's not very pleasant, and every summer, like all people, they want to go to the beach and swim in the sea. So number 6 is also a village slash small town called Железнодорожный, and this settlement was established in the 14th century. You can still see there the ruins of the castle and the church. The church is right in the middle of this little town. This town is really well taken care of. It was such a nice place to walk around. It's super, super quiet. I don't think that a lot of tourists go there, because most of the people who come to the Kaliningrad region, they go to bigger cities. But in that little town, there are just a couple of places where you can go to as a tourist. Like there is this church, there is one cafe, which is also a museum. The thing that I really enjoyed was just walking around this town, because it was so quiet and you can see the original German architecture there. There is this pond in the middle of the town, and next to it there is a windmill. It was also built in East Prussia. Now that building is empty, but people say that it's gonna be like a spa resort and a brewery, so I think it's gonna be really, really exciting. Okay, number 5 is Zelenogradsk. It used to be called Kranz, and it was a popular German sea resort on the east of the Baltic coast. Recently, this place has become even more popular because they created this brand of a city, the city of cats. The local people at first, they were just feeding the cats that were living on the streets of that city, but then the government decided to support them, and they installed these heated houses for cats, the vending machines with cat foods. So nowadays people are going crazy. They all want to go to Zelenogradsk and, pet the fluffy cats. The cats there are doing really great. Well, I have heard that some people say that, oh, poor cats, they live on the street. But from what I've seen, the cats there are doing pretty good. A lot of them are really chubby and friendly, like they come to you, they allow you to pet them. It's very nice to just go there for a weekend and, walk around slowly, enjoy the atmosphere, sit in some coffee shop and drink a cup of coffee. There are also some really interesting museums, like there is the Museum of Cats, which is like a water tower that was transformed into a museum. So you can go up that tower and enjoy the view of the city. Number 4 for me is Baltiska Kosa, or the Vistula Spit. I think that's the Polish name. So it's a very thin stretch of land between the Gulf of Gdańsk and the Baltic Sea. To travel there you need to go to Baltisk. It's the westernmost town of Russia. And this place is a little bit tricky because if you're a foreigner you need to get a special pass to travel there. Baltisk is a quiet little town. You can also see some historical buildings there. But then when you come to Baltisk, you have to take a boat to this stretch of land surrounded by water. It's not a very long ride, it takes like 5 minutes. And then you will reach this place that is really unique. I went there when I was on vacation, when my family came to visit me, my mom and my niece. I didn't make a separate video about it because I just wanted to spend the quality time with my family. So we stayed in this glamping, which was really amazing because, it's right on the coast. You can see the dunes, the really beautiful dunes and pine trees. You can watch the sunrise and sunset by the sea. The next day we went on this tour around the Vistula Spit by car. It was a Soviet car with a guide. So he told us about the history of that place, which was really cool. He showed us some abandoned buildings. There are these German air bases that you can see there that were used during the Second World War. Now they look just like abandoned buildings. Historically they have value, they're not using them nowadays. We saw this place, it's like a cultural spot right now, but in the past there were some German warehouses, but now they've been transformed into some bars that only function during summer festivals. That guy, our guide, told us that in summer on that spit you can see some really unique nature. There are a lot of animals living there, a lot of plants. So you can just walk in the forest and you can collect berries and different fruits, apples, peaches and whatever, just because in the past there used to be gardens there, but because the climate is so good, all the trees spread. And there are a lot of German artifacts that you can still find there. Like he told us that once he was walking and he found some German fork, for example, in the forest. So number 3 for me is Kaliningrad. Well, I know that maybe some people will say that it's weird because, Kaliningrad is the main city in this region. Probably you know that Kaliningrad used to be called Königsberg and it was the capital of East Prussia. It used to be this beautiful city, but during the Second World War, a big part of it was destroyed. You can see some historical buildings. One of the most beautiful of them is this German cathedral in the middle of the city. It was also partly destroyed during the war, but they renovated it. I went on a tour around this cathedral. It was really fascinating. Also, there is this German neighborhood that I really love in Kaliningrad. It's called Emilienau. There you can see old German villas, and it's just nice to walk around that neighborhood. It's really quiet, and you know, Kaliningrad is also referred to as the garden city because there are a lot of trees and flowers here. Some people who come to Kaliningrad, they expect to see this European capital, but then they bump into these Soviet blocks and they get really disappointed. To me, it's also kind of fascinating because you can see this mix of cultures. I think that the history of this city is also really, really exciting. I mean, of course, it's sad. There are a lot of sad things about it, but in general, I think you can spend months or even years exploring this city. If you like history, I think it's a great place to go to. So the second place on my list is the Curonian Spit. Is this national park? It's a stretch of land that connects Russia with Lithuania. Approximately half of this land belongs to Russia and half belongs to Lithuania. You know, in the past it used to be just this sandy land, but throughout centuries people have been trying to restore this land and plant some trees so that this land can continue existing. I think that they have been really successful with it, but still it's a very kind of like vulnerable and fragile territory and you have to be very careful. There are some trees there that are hundreds of years old. There are some rare species living in that park, so it's not allowed to smoke there or leave garbage. I went to that place, the Curonian Spit, with a tour and it was so great to learn about the history of this place. We saw some rare species like gray herons that just had come from Africa when we saw them. We saw some foxes, which is really common in that park. Almost everyone who goes there sees a fox. And it's just a really unique landscape. There are dunes, there is the sea. On the other side of the spit there is the bay. There are these little villages with German architecture there. It was like really healing to be in that area because, you know, the trees and the fresh air, the birds just made it really beautiful. So if you have a chance and if you like nature, I really recommend you to go to the Curonian Spit. Finally, top of my list is Svitlogorsk. It's a small town. It used to be called Roshen, and it was this very fashionable German sea resort. For me, it's always like a really nice place to go to because I really love that it's a town that's situated in the middle of a forest. So it kind of looks like this, you know, magical fairy tale town with these pretty buildings surrounded by pine trees. I think there is something about pine trees that makes the air like really fresh. When I go there, I feel like this place really recharges my batteries and refreshes my soul. My favorite thing to do there is just to come there by train, take some hot beverage and slowly walk around the town streets, look at this beautiful architecture, go to the sea. Now they're constructing like modern buildings there and some tourist facilities. I don't know when exactly they're gonna finish it, but still, even with the construction, it's a very relaxing place. There are these pretty German villas. You know, every time when I go there, I think like, oh, that would be so nice to live in one of those villas. Just because the nature there is so beautiful. Yeah, it's a really pretty place. And there is this little church there. It's like a German church that has been renovated and they installed a modern organ there. They hold these organ concerts every day. I've been to those concerts 2 times already. After walking around the town, enjoying your drink, going to the sea, when the evening comes, you go to this little church to listen to the concert, and it just feels like, you know, a complete beautiful day after which you just feel recharged and inspired, because nature is really inspiring, but when you add some art on top of it, like some amazing music like by Bach, Beethoven, Vivaldi, you listen to this live music and you just feel like, oh, I'm a new person. In that town also there are a lot of cats. It's very common for people to park their car, for example, in the town, walk around, come back to their car and find a cat lying on your car, which is very cute. Also, I like traveling to that town by train from Kaliningrad because during the train ride you can look through the window and enjoy the beautiful landscapes of the region. I think that these are all of the places that I visited in the Kaliningrad region. Again, you know, I really love this place, and as I said, I'm leaving tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna be back here maybe at some point in my life. I'm sure that I'm gonna miss this place so much. I have such happy memories about it and so, you know, warm feelings when I think about this place. But I just felt like it was time for me to move on, to explore some new place. I've already decided where I want to go, but you will see that in my next videos. But you know, even local people told me when I moved here that this place is not for everyone because it's very slow, it's very quiet. For me, at this stage of my life, I feel like I need something different. It was very nice to take this, you know, break for 7 months, take it slow, to travel around a little bit. And also I dedicated a lot of time to my work and studies, so I think that this for me was also very valuable. And in general, you know, it's so peaceful here and I felt like it's a very fruitful environment for me to develop. I mean, in terms of my career, because I work remotely, so I could dedicate some time to my work. It's very quiet outside. For example, when I work on my laptop at home, I just feel really concentrated because there is not a lot of noise coming from the street. But at the same time, I feel like there is not enough social life here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't been able to find a community here for myself, unfortunately. At first, when I moved here for several months, I really tried. I thought that this place is so perfect for hiking and camping and that there must be like communities of people who want to go and explore the region together, but I wasn't able to find any. Well, I have some experience of living in other places in the past. For example, I lived in Georgia, I lived in Australia, in St. Petersburg. It was very easy to find friends there. Here, I haven't been able to find anything, so I'm really grateful that I had this time to connect with myself. Of course, I have found some people here, but I just want more connections. But anyway, I think I should stop here. So let me know what you think of this region, the Kaliningrad region. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and you kind of like got an impression of what this region is all about. Let me know what you think of it, and I hope that you have enjoyed my journey so far and you've enjoyed my videos about the Kaliningrad region. Again, I want to say that I really love this place and I'm super grateful for this opportunity to have been living here. And who knows, you know, never say never. Maybe I will move here at some point, so we will see. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.